Are we doing this?
We're doing this.
Hey guys, it's Brie the Frog.
It's the Dragonfly, Mandi.
Welcome back to the Dragonfly and the Frog podcast.
Welcome, lily pads.
Wow. So today we are going to talk to you guys about overcoming the fear that comes with facing change.
There's a lot to unload and unlock with that because I know myself did not used to like change or want to embrace change or anything, but you gotta embrace it lately is what I've learned.
Yes. Embracing change is kind of like, and this is like such a cliche, but it's kind of like succumbing to like the cocoon that comes when you're a butterfly before you become a butterfly. And once you do that and you accept and embrace that change is coming, it really ushers you through a whole new threshold and a whole new way of thinking and living and being. And once you do that, the rest of your life begins to kind of flow.
Yeah, because change, sometimes your view on change can be like the real blockage that you're having right now with your life. I think sometimes.
Yeah. What was that book quote that you showed me about like the resistance? It was something like when you fight, you strengthen, but what you resist, you
persist.
You persist.
Mm-hmm.
That was super profound for me because I've experienced a lot of change in my life and I've learned how to kind of roll with the punches, but I'm starting to also learn that certain things you just have to let go of in order to make room for new things. And I think for me, the conclusion that I came to was if you're bottling things up, like, because it's like an emotional subject for you, and it's an emotional kind of change. I am a Capricorn and I am so stone-faced and I do not like to show emotion. Like, I can be very emotional, but like a lot of times people tell me that I come off as really cold sometimes, and it's literally just because I'm holding on to those emotions and I'm bottling all of that stuff up. And I've learned that by bottling that stuff up and not allowing it to flow freely from my body, I'm actually holding on to it and not stifling it. And I'm tired of holding on to things, you guys. So I've been learning to let go of that so that I can welcome and embrace change.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful that you kind of came to that conclusion. Like, oh, hold up, I'm actually like holding on to this instead of letting it go like you thought you were, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's what happens to a lot of us. I just yesterday finally had like kind of like a conversation with change, and it was very, very comforting at the end, I think, finally. Because like I said, like the last episode, when we were talking about loving myself, I've been lately like really having this inner war and kind of like struggle with myself, and I kind of finally had the like, aha, this is why like I've been struggling, and it was because of change. Everything I was like going through was all bad changes that happened in my life, and like my subconscious and everything was like bringing it to me again because I'm about to, well, I did yesterday start this new challenge, kind of change in my life starting now until my birthday, which I am very excited for, of really diving in more. And I have like a mentor now, and that is a huge change because I never thought I would actually like finally leap and do that with someone. And I was like, you know what, Change and I, we need to have a discussion. We gotta talk about our issues we have with each other. And, you know, I wanted to thank Change. You kind of have to talk about it like it's like a relationship. It sounds really weird, and you don't have to say it out loud. You can just write it, or you could like type it out, you know, you do you. But I would probably suggest not doing it with another person, like actually be alone and do it with yourself, if that makes sense, you know?
This is, I feel like, one of those instances, you guys, where it's very personal. Change is very personal for everybody. And I think that in order for you to have authentic, free-flowing thoughts and feelings, like, I agree with Mandi, like, you have to be alone in order to identify how to move that change through your body so that you can welcome it.
Yeah, I got my mic out and I just started, it like just came out, and I just kind of just mentally like pictured like I was like talking to someone. There was no face or anything. It was just like kind of like, you know, like an outline. And, you know, I talked to it like it was a friend, and I was like, hey, Change, we need to be friends now. We need to like get eye to eye. You know, I've done some bad stuff. Like, I've looked at you like you've been really bad to me, and I'm sorry for that. And I'm grateful for all you've done for me, even the bad. And you've done some bad stuff to me. You're making me right now think that all the bad change you've given me, when I know there's good change you've given me. And, you know, like, that wasn't cool. This is, like, different. It goes from there. I mean, it's a personal kind of thing, so you'll have your own alliteration. But, you know, I was just talking to it like it was a friend, and I was just, like, at the end, I was being very grateful. I was thanking it for what it did for me, gave it gratitude, said I was proud and thankful for it leading to me where I am now, and understanding that all that it's done for me then was to get me here where I am, and I'm beyond proud and grateful for myself. And, you know, I just want us to walk hand in hand now. Like, I want to embrace the change on this new journey I'm taking, on this new path, and I want it to be there with me. I don't want to fight it. I don't want to have anger. I don't want to have any of that stuff. And to get to that point where my whole life I kept saying, well, I just hate change, and to change it and be like, can we be friends now? Like, it's huge.
Have a very different narrative than Mandi with change and when it comes to change. And I've got a couple of different perspectives now, I guess. And I want to say that, like, Mandi's, like, perspective of like welcoming change is super healthy. Like, that is probably like the ideal. And like, I'm like, damn, like, I wish I had Mandi in my life back when I was like experiencing some changes, because I'm the type of person, I'm a control freak a little bit.
I mean, I am too. That's why I'm just like, that's why I hated it before, you know?
Right. But like, so here's my opposite, because I'm like your exact opposite. So I get to a point where I'm an alchemist of change, number one. So I'm like, burn it to the ground. Like, we're done. And I'm a passionate person. Like, so passionate. And so I'm literally like, F all of you guys, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, like, this isn't working for him anymore. I'm just gonna start over from scratch, flip the whole table over, pack up all my shit, and move. Bye. Like, and I don't really ever, like, take the time to process it, which is probably, like, a little bit traumatic. But, like, that's just the way that I've, like, dealt with change, because I guess I want to, like, beat it to the punch, because I know things are going to change, and instead of allowing it in the past to come to me and flow like water, I just grab a can of gasoline and light a couple matches and, like, walk away. And so I'm trying to get away from that kind of mindset. I mean, you know, and then I'm like, oh, like, you know, I'm a person who takes initiative and, like, shows action, like, takes action in scenarios, and I really am. But, like, being where I am today and, like, looking back on that, like, yes, I have had moments in my life where that was necessary. And I also, standing where I'm at, can see that, like, there were missed opportunities. You know, and so being an alchemist of change, I'm like, that's going to be my new title, the Alchemist of Change. Being an alchemist of change, like, sometimes, like, that's not always necessary. And so I recently I've been dealing with struggles of change. I've been going through a lot of changes in my personal life that I just haven't shared because it's not the right time. And I've been really taking the time to sit in that as opposed to like burn it to the ground, because honestly, you guys, like I burned my last life to the ground in a necessary way. And that's how I ended up in this beautiful place that I'm at now, that I have been hoping to like call home a little bit more permanently than what it has been. You know, I came up here to do some healing, some intense healing, like after I like left the last situation that I was in and burned it to the ground and burned the bridges along with it. But when I came here, like, I wasn't expecting to stay for very long. Like, I had told myself, like, a year. Well, guess what, you guys? It's been a year, and I'm still here, number one. So, surprise, surprise. COVID definitely knocked me on my ass and was like, well, actually, hold my beer. You're just going to sit here for a while because, like, we're not done with you. And the other part...
Hold my beer.
It was like that, you guys. And, like... I had plans to move to Brooklyn, New York, and I had plans to do it like a year ago before I came here, and it just didn't quite line up, so I, like, settled, and I came here. And then, like, when COVID-19 happened, the epicenter was in New York, and regardless of, like, whether I had made it to New York then, or, like, whether I was going to go to New York, which I was aiming for May of this year, which was the middle of the pandemic, I would have ultimately ended up where I am. Either way, I just took the easy route, number one. So don't always burn it to the ground and run, because you got to be clear-headed. So I'm thankful that I was at least clear-headed enough to make that wise choice. So I know for a fact that the universe was like, actually, you have to be here. This is in your alignment. But I finally got like a sign from the universe that was like, no, actually, like, you're home now for a while. And that was super, like, literally last night. Like, last night I got that, like, message from the universe. And I didn't get that message from the universe until I finally had sat with myself for the last couple of months. It's been a couple of months that I've been sitting on this, and I didn't realize it. But it, allowing myself to feel the feelings that I was feeling surrounding that change, and the turmoil of, like, not knowing, like, where I was going to live and if I was going to have to leave here, because, like, Humboldt stole my heart. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't think anybody can ever have my heart the way Humboldt does, because it's my dream come true. Like, the beaches and the forest, like, hand in hand, side by side. Like, you hike through a beautiful, lush, like, forest of redwood trees and, like, slide down a cliffside to get to, like, the most beautiful beaches out here, you guys. Like, it's a fairy tale. And it's the relationship that I've been able to build with myself and Mother Nature, like, since I've been out here. I didn't want to have to leave that behind, you know, and so it's forced me to have conversations with myself surrounding, like, what do you really want? Like, are you going to have a home here? Where are you going to go? Do you want to go to New York still? Like, can you still achieve those goals that you wanted to achieve in New York from Humboldt? And how can you do that? And so it's been a lot of personal turmoil, just trying to figure out what sacrifices I was going to have to make, and if I would have to sacrifice my vision or my values or both in order to live here, and if there was an opportunity for me to stay. And so it wasn't until, like, I finally embraced that and let it go yesterday afternoon when I got home. 2 hours later, I got a message, like a literal message, literally dropping a house in my lap. And that was wild. And I was like, oh shit, I should have just let go a long time ago.
Yeah, a lot of the times, like, when we don't want to think about things, or when we don't have to deal with things, like, we don't realize how much we're, like, actually, like, overthinking and really, like, tearing it up, like, doing the complete opposite of what we wanted to do. instead of just sometimes, like, having to, unfortunately, sit, like, with it, talk with it. What are your issues with it? Asking those questions. I don't know, lately I've been asking myself a lot of questions. I've been questioning a lot of things, and honestly, it's been helping a lot. It gives you a lot of clarity. No one said it was easy, though, either. Like, it is what it is. Like, you kind of have to do it in order for you to let go. And I think both Brie and I are at the point where we just don't want anger anymore. We don't want hate anymore. It's too exhausting.
It is. And it's like, and it's one of those things where, and it's like, I'm gonna like use this reference a lot because I don't know, like this is just clicked for me yesterday with a lot of different things, and it's a very transferable like concept, but it's like you're literally taking those feelings and putting them into a bottle and corking it shut. But like, where is that bottle? Like, it's on your body, it's in your pocket, it's in your heart, wherever it is, your mind, like, and you just keep stuffing like more and more and more. And it's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to deal with that right now. I don't want to deal with that right now. Like, I'm fine. It's fine. It's going to be okay. If I get enough distance, like blah, blah, blah. I've made up every excuse in my mind to bottle shit up and not ever let it out, because I don't like to be emotional, because like I'm passionate, and I feel like sometimes when I get emotional I'm almost like out of control. And the vulnerability piece, like those are the two things, because if I'm vulnerable, I'm not in control of the situation anymore. I'm all of a sudden showing my belly to the world, you know, and for the world to do whatever it wants with me. Like,
it's scary.
Yeah.
That is scary, you know? It's scary to be vulnerable. Like, no one wants to do that, because you don't know, because especially with like our day and age, it's really hard with like technology and social media and everything, especially because it's like sometimes you just still don't really know someone until you have like those like deep kind of conversations, you know? Like, we just see what we want to see. Like,
yeah, you only see what you allow like, people to see. You know, and so
sometimes you make those like, we make them, other people make them. It's a give or take kind of thing, you know. You make those assumptions. You make those, you just have these images or things that you create from someone. Sometimes they create that on you. You guys have these conflicts, and it's because of communication. Once again, Mandy's talking about communication. Like,
right. And then I'm like, and then here I come in to circle back and be like, okay, but like, don't forget like the consistency, like what actions are following like those like words that are being spoken.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I feel like I've just been in like situations, and like I didn't grow up in the best like little hometown. I always joke, you could take the girl out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the girl. And so, I don't know, like where I grew up, I've seen people do people dirty and like stab people in the back.
Oh yeah.
And, I just learned from an early age that putting that much trust in people
is hard.
It's not even that it's hard, because I've literally watched people take people's vulnerabilities and like use it to lead them to slaughter. And like I don't know, like I don't ever want to be in a situation where that can happen, and so I just bottle it up, and I'm like, don't show them that you're upset, don't show them that you're sad, don't show them that you're weak, like, because they'll just prey on you and use it against you.
Yeah.
And like rub the salt in.
But did you also think, though, like, you're using it against you, too, though? Because you're your biggest enemy, too. So, in return, you've been,
No, I know.
Okay.
I know.
You're like, no,
but
I know.
I didn't.
You didn't know, but now you know.
In those moments, I definitely didn't see it that way. But I just think it was because, like, I was just so caught up in the flames of the moment that, you know, like I didn't realize that I was doing myself a disservice for so long. And that's why I just kind of was like, cool, like, where's my matches? Like, so, I'm learning to not be so reactive.
It's hard, you know, like, you know, our favorite Leo, I had a conversation with her a couple nights ago, and, you know, we were talking about, she's like, yeah, really love how much you've changed, Mandi. Like, you're not holding people, like, at a huge distance anymore. Like, you know, you're kind of letting them in, like, not let, like, you know, to an extent, you know how
with boundaries.
Yeah, with
boundaries.
I would say,
yes.
That's the thing.
Healthy
like,
boundaries.
Yeah, like, I'm definitely creating healthy boundaries, you know. I'm communicating more. Basically, I'm not doing the whole bottle thing anymore, because I would do the whole I'm fine bottle, and then all of a sudden that bottle would break, and then it's like all hell loose because I get all angry and passionate. Like,
it's an atom bomb.
And then people are like, whoa, where did this come from? You said you were fine. Well, actually, I wasn't fine. Okay, well, you never said that. So it's just crazy how much our friendship has grown. So, like, it's nice to hear from someone you have known, like, from the, like, not even from the beginning, but just, like, as kind of, like, strangers, and then becoming, like, something even more now. For her to tell me she was proud of me and has seen how much progress I've made, and see how much it's not only helped me, but our friendship too, and other friendships, you know, was just really nice, because it was just gave me that, like, oh, okay, like that pat on the back, like, okay, like, this is good, this is working, like, you know.
And I will say too, I think for me, like, not to say that I'm, like, maniacal and crazy and, like, I want to burn all these bridges, because I'm really not that kind of person. But, like, I've faced a lot of adversity in my life coming into adulthood, and, like, a lot of things that, like, no adult faces, like, that early on, like, in their, like, early 20s. And taking that, like, having to roll with the punches, like, for me, it wasn't always, like, I'm gonna be this, like, crazy neurotic person who wants to burn every bridge and, like, have drama. It was more so a strength thing, just to be clear. So it was like, no, like, I'm okay, I'm strong, I've got to be strong, I have to be strong in this moment, I have no choice but to be strong in this moment. You know, my dad's been sick for a really long time, and I can't even remember, I feel like I was maybe 20. Nope, I had to be 19. But he had his first stroke, and I witnessed my dad having a stroke on Christmas Eve when I was about 19 or 20 years old, you guys. And to watch that, like, that was kind of like pulling the pin on the rest of how the rest of my adulthood kind of played out up until now. And that's, like, the most helpless feeling in the whole wide world, to sit there and watch your father have a stroke and, like, have to call 911. It was, like, super traumatic. And so from then on, like, my life has just never quite been the same. And so it was always like, I have to be strong for me. I'm an only child, and I have to be strong for my mom, you know, who's, like, my mom was older than my dad. So, like, I always worried about my mom's health before my dad. And, so it just kind of, like, flipped my world upside down, and it's just never quite been the same. So when things start to change in ways that I don't like it, my way of taking the control back is, well, it's my life. I'm gonna, like, let me make these choices, and be strong, and I am strong, and whatever. And so my lack of showing emotion or allowing myself to feel emotion was me telling myself it's okay because I'm strong. And I get told that all of the time. All of my friends, you're so strong, like, you're the definition of hardiness, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I love that, and that's great, but, like, even the strongest person has to fall apart sometimes. And you just have to allow it to happen. Yeah.
Well, especially if you're going, like, strong, like, soon something's gonna break, something's gonna give, like, unfortunately. But you are strong, but I think I'm proud of more. I mean, I haven't been in your life as long as your other friends, so I can't really say so much, but I'm proud of you lately, just sitting with a lot of things and just thinking a lot, and I don't want to say you're not taking action as fast as you used to, but I feel like you're kind of like, thought and then action, like,
there's more intention behind what I'm doing. Yes.
I'm not saying justice at all for what I'm feeling, but I'm just talking gibberish now.
Mandi met me right after I, like, had to, like, burn my last life down. And like,
well, when we first met, you were very distant, but I mean, I can't say anything either because I was distant, so we were just two distant people.
We both, I think,
two people just, at arm's length, like, don't
with
know
a wall in between.
Yeah, there's like an arm, there's like
well, because when I moved here, I was like, it literally, like, me moving here, you guys, like, happened within a week. Just so you know, like, it was literally like, oh, okay, I like it here, I'm gonna get a job. Oh, I got a job today. Okay, cool, so I have a week to pack my stuff. Okay, it's been a week, bye. Like, and then I like, started working.
I also just thought that you kind of, like, I could just tell that you were a very strong, like, person, and that was kind of intimidating at first, but really, like, not, I don't know, it was, like, very welcoming for me, because I was just, like, it brought me back to my old, like, dance days, so I liked that, like, you know, it made me think, like, I was back on a team again, but also, it kind of made me think about, like, how I was when I was, like, a leader of my company and stuff. I was like that. I was strong, distant, people at arm's length, you know, like that, like, lone wolf kind of thing. And I was like, oh yeah, she doesn't want friends. She's not like she doesn't want like, I'm just like, I'll just stay in my lane. And like, I was at the point too where I don't trust people either. Like, I already had a lot of management turmoil since my time at our work has not been daisies or butterflies. Oh, man. My time has not been good at all, and all the different turnovers. So I was like, oh gosh, okay, we got this strong person, but what if, like, are they gonna leave too, kind of thing, like, once they figure out, like, how everything is, you know?
Okay, first of all, I'm not a quitter. I'm super stubborn, so no.
And I found that out later. Like,
when I came in, number one, I, like, had just left a really horrible experience, number one. So I was just, like, reeling from that. It was like a bomb had gone off and, like, my ears were still ringing and I hadn't gotten my vision back. But number two, like, I also had moved here and I was, like, so hurt when I moved here that, like, I was so scared to make friends because they were all gonna leave. Like, that was just where I was at. And, you know, I just was, I can't even say it was like a trust thing. I mean, yes, I had trust broken and it wasn't surrounding friends. It was relationship oriented. So you would think that I would still be able to make friendships. Yeah. But it was just like, this was supposed to be temporary. So when I moved here, I was like, okay, like, freaking put your blinders on. Like, you're literally here to, like, save money, make money, and move. You've got stuff to do and you have a lot of things to prove because you have a lot of people to prove wrong. You know, and so that was kind of my mindset with that change.
It wasn't until really we started, like, working out together. That's, like, how we started, I think, becoming closer, was just when I started working out again, like, and then you were always there, so it, like, gave me motivation, and then I was, like, intimidated to, like, for us to work out together, though, because I was like, oh, Lord, if only I had my dancer body again, and, like, endurance, because I'm
like She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so...
But that was really good, though, for both of us. That's when we started having conversations, and I think we both kind of, I want to make this very clear, we did not put all our walls down when we first... Like, no, it was like one baby brick steps at a time.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Okay, so, like, talking about, like, working out, like, I talked to you guys last week about how, for me, going to the gym is, like, cathartic because it helps me move that energy through my body. And I'm just always, like, so inspired, like, in two places. If it's in water... or if I'm in motion at the gym. Like, those are the two places, like, and water is usually, like, in motion, like, you're at the beach or whatever. And so there's just something about the movement that comes with, like, just everything is energy and everything's a wavelength. And so being able to tap into that form of movement, whether it's a movement of water or the movement of body, it, like, moves that stagnant energy and those emotions. And so I think that you and I both had stagnant emotions built up in our bodies. And so by like working out together, like we started to like break that stuff down and then in turn break our walls down.
Yeah. It was good times. Good times.
Dude, I miss that. We need to get back. Hey, it's October.
I know. I know.
It's October 1st. When we're recording this, you guys, and we've been saying like, oh, in October, and I'm like, oh,
in October,
jeepers.
Yeah, Brie's gonna take over my whole eating. We're gonna track everything.
All right, to be determined. Well, that's gonna be like soon.
That's definitely a goal though I have, like before my birthday. I have so many. I think that's the thing, like because
you need to write a checklist and you need to prioritize it.
I know because like there's so many things that it's a new checklist. That's the thing because I had these society things of checklists that I wanted to achieve by 25. That checklist is screwed because
she burned it to the ground.
That checklist doesn't have anything.
She's an alchemist of change. I'm changing Mandi.
I also got I just looked at it and I was like, well, this isn't really actually what I want right now, kind of thing, And then my other checklist was just all the traveling I wanted to do. That can't happen now because of COVID, nor do I know when that's going to happen. And
divine timing. That's when it's going to happen.
It's a matter of time and when. It's always there. And the thing is, I have my passport, so I have the biggest obstacle already done.
Oh, you have me beat. I still need to get my passport. I'm like, get your stuff together.
I have my passport. Like, I have that, so it's there. And that's why I was just like, you know what? The one thing I can do right now is loving myself, investing in myself, putting all that time and energy, hiring a mentor, and just, realizing I can't do these things on my own anymore, which is huge. Like, yes. Did I ever think I was going to come to that conclusion? No. Did I ever think I was going to befriend, I can't even talk. Did I ever think I was going to, befriend change? Heck no. Did I ever think I was going to have a relationship with money? No. All these things I thought never, I'm, changing into now. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, yes. All those nevers I'm changing into now. Ooh,
that one's good.
That one's gonna be.
You better write that down,
I know.
folks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I think Brie's right though. I think I gotta make a priority list thing. We already have our priority list for this podcast with our lily pads and everything.
Yeah, and I think Mandi touched a really good point too, though, because talking about change, and the reason we chose to talk about change is because we've reached a point, number one, none of us thought 2020 was going to go this way ever. And so I think that we're all at a point where we realize the lists of goals that we wrote at the beginning of the year for New Year's, if you're keeping track of that, some of you might be on track and some of you might not, and it's kind of scary when you're like, oh crap, we're in the last quarter of the year and I haven't achieved these things, and it's kind of okay, why have I not achieved these things? Is it something that I could have controlled or is it something that's out of my control? And then where do you kind of bridge the gap? Because now it's a lot of us are faced with we didn't accomplish half of the things that we wanted to accomplish this year because the universe stepped in and really was no, you're in timeout. You need to sit down and you need to reprioritize. And so I just think that it's time for us all to kind of revisit those lists. It is the full moon, you guys, time to release and let go. So what are you going to let go of? What is no longer doing you service in this moment, and what can you do in this moment where you can't really do much to move yourself forward to be ready for those opportunities when they present themselves to you. That's kind of what's allowed me to sit with myself and have had a lot of conversations with myself regarding what can I do today to help me achieve my dreams tomorrow? Will I be ready when that opportunity presents itself? Because ultimately, all we can do is prepare ourselves for when those opportunities do present themselves, and so a lot of it is, if you can, save money, work on yourself, do your inner work, make your, like, learn a new craft. You know what I mean? Like, now's the time to, like, start as a novice, because at least then, like, by the time we get through all of this, you'll have mastered a new skill set, and an opportunity can be open for you when it's time for the new world to be ushered in.
Oh, I definitely think, you know, a lot of us, I don't think any of us can say it enough this year. We did not think this year was going to be how this year is. You know, we had all those goals and everything. And, you know, if you have those lists right now and you're checking the checking the boxes, making your list happen, I applaud you. I think that's amazing. For those of us who, you know, had a list and we're not checking them, you know, take it as a grain of salt. You know, like, from now on, you need to question yourself, not from yourself that was at the beginning of this year, but yourself right now, in this present moment. You need to ground yourself and ask yourself right now, like, whatever date this is you're listening to this, what do I want? What do I need moving forward? What am I uncertain about now? What do I have clarity on? What can I have clear later? You know, really ground yourself in yourself right now, because unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, that past self and that past checklist is not here anymore. And it's not going to be here anymore. And you can't go back in time, and you can't go back and try and grab it again.
It's not going to be a message in a bottle. Empty your bottles.
Empty the bottle. But right now, you need to ask your current self right now, what do you want? What do you want your future to hold? What can you do right now to help that future when things can come for you?
And I can definitely say, you know, in these moments, because I've felt it, I know Mandy's felt it, I think we've all felt it, you reach a moment where you feel so helpless, and you're like, oh my God, what is the point? Why am I trying? What am I even doing? Like, I've got to say, like, in these moments, feel it. Stop. Take a break. Give yourself some time to, like, feel lost, and, like, just embrace those moments of feeling lost. But whatever you do not quit.
Keep moving forward.
You can take a break, but do not quit. Because quitting is failure.
Doing nothing is failure.
Just know that you're not on a freaking schedule, man. Like, that is out the window. Like, we're going through this, all of us, as a collective, like, for a reason. And we have real opportunity to embrace this moment for change. We're being forced to change. This is a catalyst of change. Be an alchemist of change. But, like, in a healthy way.
In a healthy way, yeah. I know, a lot of us don't like change, but we unfortunately got this change. What we can do, though, with this is, like Brie said, try to have a new craft. Try to, you know, learn that language you've been wanting to learn this whole time. Because, hey, if you learn it now, whenever we can travel again, you'll have a new language. You can use that language you've been wanting to do. You know, if you've always wanted to get into more, like, arts and crafts, you know, do it. Like, who knows where it's going to take you? Like, I'm not saying, like, necessarily you'll, like, open up, like, you know, a whole art gallery. But, hey, you could. I'm not saying you couldn't. But, like, who knows? Maybe for you doing this art thing, it leads to another door that you never thought was possible. Like,
that's so true, man. Like,
figure out what you want. Like, figure what new thing you want to grab too. Maybe it's an old thing too that you haven't touched on in a while. Dust it off. Try it again.
Get back to your roots, your childhood. Like,
go back in. Deep root in yourself. This is what we can do right now. We have all the ultimate control over what we do right now. We have that control. There's other things we don't have control over. But we definitely have control of what we want to do and what we want to move forward with. You know, take a deep breath. Like Brie said, don't just stop. Take that breath and keep moving.
Yeah, and I'm, like, a person who... So, like, Mandi will ask the questions, and I love that because that's kind of what gets my wheels turning, too. But after I ask the questions, like, I always write myself a checklist, because I think it's really where we all get lost in the sauce, is we get this big dream, and we're like, okay, I want to do this thing, and then we're like, how do I do this thing? Like, and that's kind of... We need to bridge the gap. Write yourself a checklist. like step-by-step checklist. And like I said, like in our very first podcast, like a lot of the times, like I like to use the moons, the full moon and the new moon usually are like the two main ones to like gauge my goals and like write out new checklists. You know, not saying everybody has to do that, but it's like, for me, it works. It's a regular cycle. Like it's something that's on the calendar, and it's, you know, something that's like consistent. And then you just write your checklist. And I mean, you can be as detailed as you want, or, you know, as relaxed about it as you want. But like, I think that once you identify what your process needs to be in order to achieve that goal, like it's easier if you write it in a checklist form, and then like you can take that checklist and that knowledge and pass it along to somebody else, and before we know it, like we can change the world.
Be water lily pads, embrace change, be open, ask yourself the questions. What do you want right now? You yourself right now.
Once you overcome that fear, like I feel like I'm going to say this every time, everything you've ever wanted is placed on the other side of fear. And it's so exhilarating to like live through some of that fear and experience it and turn around and be like, oh my God, I did it and I survived. Because that's when you turn around and you're like, dang, I'm stronger than I thought. And I feel like having that feeling is so much more empowering than like proving to someone else that you're strong. I feel like that's how I got as strong as I am today, guys. Not just going to the gym. Like
the gym helps.
It does. But like proving myself wrong.
Heck yeah, because we are our worst enemy.
It's mind over matter.
We are our own biggest obstacle. And we're also our biggest hero to remove that obstacle too, though.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about ourselves. So dive in, guys. You got this.
Be strong enough to push your own self out of the way.
You got this. You guys already know you got this. This is just a reminder.
Yeah. Take the leap. The net will appear. It's fine.
And the net will appear. All right, guys, we hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Don't forget to subscribe, comment below, like, let us know how you guys are dealing right now with change. And we'll see you next time, lily pads.
Bye, lily pads. Be water.
Be water.
This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.